we have a few folks on, and that's great. What I have decided is we've got two choices of what we're going to make today. We've got this. Come on. This link from the Essential Links. Hi, Janice. Book, and I'm thinking that it would make a pretty earring, and we'd put a dangle here at the end, and maybe even, I think I would prefer to have this little inner loop right below the upper loop where the earring wire is going to hang on, because I think then we could put a tiny dangle right here in the middle as well. So I think that would make a pretty pair of earrings. So we have that choice. Or the other choice is, let's see if I can find it. Again, I had it yesterday. A bracelet that was in our Bead Style magazine. However, their bracelet is, well, theirs is actually a choker that they have made with three strands of beads. Now, I only have 2-strand holders, so the bracelet would only have 2 strands. Hi, Tina. So I'm trying to decide, do we want to go with the bracelet or do we want to make the earrings? I'm sort of going to let you guys decide. Hey, Beth. As we're just talking about, I have not decided for sure what we're going to make today, whether we're going to make a bracelet or if we're going to make the bracelet would be from the Bead Style magazine, and this is actually a choker, and I was thinking of making it into a bracelet but with only 2 strands, because my all of my dividers like this are all 2-strand dividers. So I was thinking it would be pretty as a 2-strand bracelet with the button here in the middle. And with a little adjustment, the other option, like I was telling the ladies, is a pair of earrings that we'd make using one of the link that they were telling us how to make here in the book, this one. And we'd make this link, but then we'd make 2 of them, make them into a pair of earrings. And as I was saying, I think I will try and get this loop here that's at the bottom of the 2 loops right underneath this one, because the earring wire will hang there. And then we can put a dangle right here as well as another right here. So I think that would be really cool. So you're voting for the earring? Hey, Mary, you'd like to see the earrings too, Tina? So we're going to go for the earrings, you think, guys? We can definitely do that if that's what we want to do. Hi, Dorothy. Earrings. Okay, looks like we've got 3 or 4 votes for the earrings. So probably we're going to go for the earrings. So to start with, of course, we just need the wire. So we'll get this turned and we'll and we will start seeing what our instructions say for creating this link. I'll probably ignore a little bit of it, but you know. So let's turn down. Come on. So anyway, here is our book again. And we're going to go for making this link down here. And it's got the steps in here. This is only one of the very few links that it actually has the steps. The instruction sheet says has given us like 4 different, I guess it's 8, no, 14 basic bead loops, and every one of the loops that's in the list, there's 300 some of them, can be made using something from those. So here is our book, and it wants us to cut a length of wire approximately 4 to 5 inches long and grip the end of the wire on your round nose pliers and roll a simple side loop. That's picture 1 here. Now, I'm probably going to cut 6 because 4 to 5 inches is only that long, and by the time you're done, well, it might be all right. I think I'll go for 6 though. So let's put this aside. We'll get some wire out and we'll start that first instruction there. I'm going to do this sort of like we did missing link, and I'm just going to get the things out and work on them and follow the instructions in the book as much as possible. Like I said, I'm gonna look at this and see how big. We're going to go use a 20 gauge beadle-on silver wire. It doesn't say what kind of wire they want you to, or even what size. It just says cut 4 to 5 inches of wire. So we're gonna, actually 5 inches is a pretty nice length. So maybe we will do the 5 inches. So we're gonna cut 5 inches of wire. And I'm actually going to cut 2 right now since we're going to make earrings out of this. Oops, that was bad. I just dropped my spool of wire onto the ground, and it's not got any kind of holder on it, so it's probably all over the floor right now. Get the little sharp edges cut off. Now this is 20 gauge, and I could have gone for like 18 gauge, and I maybe should have, because sometimes you need that extra oomph. Wow, surprisingly enough, the spool is not all over the ground. It's not even unspooled more than normal, because this spool always has been trying to unspool. So get this baby back in its baggie though, so that it doesn't unspool anymore. But I decided to use the 20 gauge right now because I need to, I have never made this link before, so we want to have some give to our wire, so to speak, so that if I make errors, it's easier to fix them. Come on, get down in there. Oh, I'm making stuff too, Mary. I have a 3-day show this weekend, starts Friday. So that ought to be fun. Anyway, we've got our 2 5-inch pieces of wire. I'm going to straighten them up somewhat, even though the first thing we're going to do is bend them. But I like to start with straight as much as possible. So it says to make a simple side loop. All that means is that it's a simple loop and you don't break the neck and just leave it on its side. So They have a round nose pair of pliers. I'm going to use my bell making pliers, of course. And it doesn't say how big to make this loop. So I'm going to actually make it slightly larger when use this bigger side here. So we want to make a loop. So there's our loop on the first one. Now we'll make one on this second one. Okay, there's our loops made. Did I ever see Bear 399? I've been down to the Tetons quite a few times because I worked for the intermountain region of the Park Service. So I had to go down there sometimes to train people and such, but no, I never did see her. I know a lot of people who did, but I personally didn't. The Four Cubs was about 4 years ago when she had those four cubs. Grizzly bears keep their cubs for 3 years before they kick them loose, and she had a yearling with her, so it would have been about 4 years ago that she had the four. This last year she only had one. And I know they've been looking for that cub because it wasn't with her when they found her. So anyway, there's step 1. Let's see what we got to do for step 2 here. Step 2 says place the side loop against a large round form. In this sample, I'm using a marking pin. Secure the side loop with your thumb and roll the working wire around the form until you return to the side loop. What's this? 3 says continue rolling the working wire until you have created a half turn that places the working wire on the opposite side of the form. So that's 3, and then 4 shows what it's supposed to look like. So I will get my wire mandrel out. Here's my round wire mandrel. And now is the time to decide how big I want it to be. They said they used a marker, so it'd be right around in here somewhere. So let's see. I just let the book close. I wanted to see how they had it sitting on the okay, so facing upwards, the bend. Oh, stop closing. So we want the bend like so. And I think I'm going to put it, this is a little bit bigger than a marker, and that's fine because I want it a little bit bigger than a marker, the one in the book. So it says go all the way around and then come, so you've got a turn and a half. I'm thinking that wire doesn't look like it's going to be long enough. Oh, it's spread out. We need to pull it tight. All the way around, hold it with your finger. Well, it says thumb, but it's gonna wiggle, so finger is good. Is this the same size of loop? I think this one's a little bigger, so we'll move it up one and pull it tighter. Oh, poop. Stop it. Still feel this is bigger. So we have it down here. Let's go up. I'm going to go up tighter yet because I don't think this wire is going to be long enough on the bottom with using a 5. I think we should have used 6 like I thought at first, but we'll do it this way. Oops. You need to go over here. I'm going to have to straighten this wire back out. Okay. This book is called The Essential Links for Wired Jewelry. So now we're over here. And it says, use your bent nose pliers to flatten the simple side loop into the large open eyelet. Yeah, you don't have to use your bent nose. You can use any pliers. Grip the working wire about 3/4 inches of the base of the open eyelet and create a U-bend, bringing the working wire along the side of the open eyelet. Now see, this is why I said I don't think we have enough wire. I don't think they told us to cut enough wire because you see what they want us to do now is bend this and then bring it up and around and then form the loop up at the top. And when it comes right down to brass tacks, this then has to bend up, go up and over here and come up to the top and make a loop. So it's going to be close as far as wire is concerned. But anyway, they wanted us to bend this the side loop down. So what you want to do is just take it and push it downwards. And they said bent nose, but you don't need bent nose. And I'm going to pull this a little tighter because we want this to act like a spiral, I think, because they've got that inside. So we want it like so. And then we'll do the same over here. And again, this needs to go along the outside of this wire. So there we go. Now it wants us to do a bend at the bottom. And I think I should have trusted my judgment and made the 6 inches, but that's all right. We're going to keep it up here. So what we want to do is we want to, now that we've got that, it says grip the wire about 3/4 of an inch from the base of the open eyelet and create a U-bend. So now when they say the open eyelet, I'm sure they're meaning this. And bring the working wire along the side of the eyelet. Now this is we're gonna have to see if we can get this done properly because we want this to go down here and we're gonna bend it and it has to come up and around again and form our other loop up here at the top. So what we want to do is it says 3/4 of an inch. I'm not sure we've got enough wire to do 3/4 of an inch. Let's see. So 3/4 of an inch would be about right here. I'm not sure about this. So let's bend her up. Now see, we don't have enough wire, because if we're going to bring this back around here, there's not enough room to make the eye. So I'm thinking the problem is either we need to make the inner circle smaller or we need more wire. And I'm going for the more wire. I think it needs 6 inches instead of 5. So we can get that more appropriate. So what we're going to do is we'll set these aside and I'll make something different out of them. But we're going to get 6 inches of wire now. And I'm going to make these the same way, but I'm going to make them more with more wire so that it's more appropriate to the size I think that it needs to have. Because with another inch, this would have gone up here easily. In fact, probably maybe even just a 1/2 inch. But I'd rather have too much than not enough, which is what we've got here. I don't believe in doing a lot of wire conservation, so to speak, because then you have things like this happen. So I would rather have too much wire than not enough, because even though wire is getting more expensive than it used to be, obviously it's not real atrociously cheap. But on the other side of the coin, what's cheap about throwing something away or discarding it because you don't have enough? So like I say, this is not going to work for me this way. So we're going to start over again. And that's not hard to do. So we're going to just take our bell making pliers, and again we will make the simple loop. And I'm not straightening this wire up as much as I did last time, because let's face it, we're going to just bend it around anyway. So there's our 2 simple loops. Get our mandrel out. Decide which one we're going to work with. I was working at, I think we ended up going down to this one. These are not marked as far as their size is concerned. I wish they were, because then it would be easier to remember which one you're working on. But we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up. So we might have been on 5. Yeah, we were on 5. So, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We were on this one right here. So that one was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. So we will tighten this back up. Whoops. Because it spreads a little bit after you fold it anyway, because it doesn't like staying in that tiny size. So this one's bigger. I think we need this smaller. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. pull on it because it wants to stay the other size. So we'll pull till we get it around. So okay, we're about the same size again. Now we'll take our pliers and push this circle down into the middle. And I'm going to make this more of a spiral by pulling the other wire around to the side here because we don't want it to be long like that. So then bend you over and bring it around to more of a spiral shape. Okay. Kink. So now we want to try our 3/4 inch bend up again. So this one is actually down further than I want it to be because when we do our bend, we don't want it right down here at the very bottom. It's got to be up here. So right here is where we're going to put our bend in. Now see, I think we have enough wire this time to get up there and make our curve. Let's get this in about the same spot when we bend it down and measure. So we want it to be right here. Now this side is not real flat, it's sort of bent, so I'm going to try and straighten it some. Let's see how close we are. Our loop is a little bit off, but not by much. So this one is the one that didn't go inside, so since I can pull it over just a hair and bring it in more. That's better. Now let's see what book says about this after we get this piece done. So we brought our wire up to the side here. Now with your fingers, secure the open eyelet as you roll the working wire along the top of the link. So what it's saying is hold on to it, bring the wire around like you were making a spiral or something. Now, so then the next thing is to hold your wire and make a simple loop up at the top. So that's where we're at right now. So when you do this, now if you don't like doing this with your fingers, you can always get your other pliers out. Now, even with 6 inches, I think I'm going to have barely enough for my loop here. We're going to go with a small loop this time instead of this larger loop. Come on, let go. And see, it is down there still, but when I pull it up, it's going to be about right above the other circle or really close to it. And that's about where I want it. So there we go. Nobody talking? I don't see any more messages coming through. So anyway, there we go. So if you decide to do this, remember I changed it to 6 inches instead of 5 because 4 or 5, as they said, because we needed that extra length to make our curve here. So So let's get the other one curved up and get its, well, I'm going to make its loop first, then we'll curve it up and around. Oops, stop snapping. I hate it when it falls off the pliers. It's most annoying. So we're going to hold this right here and bring this baby up and around. So now this needs to come down a bit more. What I'm going to do to make this come down is I'm going to hold this like this, put my pliers in here, and I'm going to just push it. And I pushed it too much. I made my loop be a little bit extra large, so squish it down. I don't think it's up as high as the other one is, because the other one looks to be right above this other loop. It's also weirdly wired here. Now, if it doesn't feel right to you, if it doesn't feel like you're getting what you want out of it, you can always pull this inner wire around a little bit more, because it's more or less just a spiral. So pull it like so. Now I'm going to do the same over here, because this one seems to be giving me flack. So I'm going to push this down and bring it up and around with my fingers a little bit. And then we'll see what we can do here. So there we go. There are the two. Now, the next thing it says to do, now that we've got all these lovely bits and pieces done here, is to the completed link can be connected to your chain through the ending simple side loop and the U-bend of the raindrop. The open eyelet area is ready to accept a cluster of bead dangles, if that's what you want to do. Wire wrap the center open spiral of this link by working a length of 24 or 26 gauge wire. To wire wrap the center open spiral of this link by working several tightly packed coils before and after the simple side loop connection at the top of the link. Number 10, a few moments of time and a small length of fine wire create this finished wrap, which adds visual interest to the link. So that's these two down here. So we're going to get a little bit of wire out. And I would have done this anyway, even if they didn't suggest it, because as you can see, this one does not want to stay over beside this. Well, there, that made it better. But it's trying to pop out a little bit, so we don't want that. So we're going to get that in place. But now, see, this looks a little crooked to me. See how if I bring this up, this one looks better. This one looks like it's just a little bit, like this loop didn't make enough loop so that we got our, wasn't tight enough, so our upper one is not quite where it should be, in my opinion. Better. We'll see. But we need some thin wire. So cut a little bit off. Like I said, I'd rather have too much than not enough. So I'm going to cut like, I don't know, how long is this? It's about 9 inches. So just take it. And I guess it's a matter of where do you want to start at, because you don't need to start in any particular spot here. I'm going to start right here, I think. Wrap a few this way before I start with my... Now leave a little tail when you're wire wrapping because... And that wrapped over the top of one of the other wires. I don't want it to do that. So let's pull you back out. Come on. See how it went over the top here? I don't want it over the top, so we'll push it back over there. Now, this is a little tricky because you do have to go through this circle here. And this is going to try and roll because of, well, just because. So that's why I leave the little tail so you can grab hold of that as you're working. So there is this first little bit. Now we'll go down through here one more time, and then we'll probably are going to have to go through, well, 2 more times, through the loop here that's down below. And to make that easier on yourself, open this loop up. It doesn't have to be closed right now. So open it up, and then when you go down and around, you can just go through the loop this way instead of having to try and wire through the loop. Now see how much wire I've already used up. So now we're just going to go to the other side here and go around. And I'm probably going to go around till I run out of wire. Got to close this baby back up yet, though. And it opened up hot. It came high. It should be right below the wire. There we go. And then we'll just keep wrapping this baby up. Come on. Now, once you get this finished, you want to take your nylon jaw pliers and squish it. So, just going to go. Now, if it loosens up, just take your fingernail like that, or your pliers if you don't have a thumbnail that's you don't mind mangling up, because I do mangle my thumbnails up quite a bit. Right now they're not, because I haven't done a lot of wire work recently, but okie dokie, I think we're good here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little wire here on this side and the wire here on this side, and we're going to take our clippers and clip that off close. Okay, what you do? I see a nasty down here. Okay, obviously I missed a problem because it's over the top over here, and we don't want that. See how it's a little higher here? It's because it went over the top of its buddy. And I don't want it to do that. So backed it out a bit. Now I'm putting it back in place pretty much. At the same time, I'm watching it and making sure it's not pulling any stunts again. So now we'll cut this little bit off. Take our regular pliers and squish our little tiny tails down. And now we're going to take our nylon jaw pliers and squish these pieces all down into place, because as you can see, they were trying to go over the top of each other there, and I didn't want that, so now they're not. I still think this little curve is not quite in the right spot, but it'll work. Hey, Cindy. So now we need to get the wire for the second one, wrap it up, and then we're going to find a dangle or two and put on these two, for one right here in the middle, and it's going to hang off to the side a little bit, it looks like, but it is what it is. So, like I said, we need to get our second piece of wire, and we'll start wrapping this other earring up. So we need about a turn and a half of wire here. And decide where you want to start. I'm going to start on this one because I want to pull this one up, so because it's trying to roll downwards. So we'll make our first few loops right here, and that will hold it from sinking, pulling away from it. So now I think I'm pretty much lower than the other one was as far as where my loops are at here. So I will probably need to check that in a minute, compare them, and then push this up while it's still pushable to go up to where it would be on the other, so it would match the other one. And I think you just wrapped over yourself here. And that's one thing you need to watch out for when you're wire wrapping, is where is your wire going on the other side, because it sometimes will wrap over itself if you're not careful. Rory's having a bit of a discussion this morning. Yeah, see how much lower? No, actually, it's not very much lower, just a teeny touch. So we'll just push it up just a little bit while we still can. There we go. Now see, though, the loops are in a slightly different place here. But that's all right, because one's going to be one side, the other's going to be the other side, obviously. And I'm going to mirror image them as much as I can, because I like a mirror image earring rather than one that's exactly the same if they have slight differences. Now, as you can see, this loop is, well, it's a little bigger than the other one for one thing, but it's over a little bit further, I think, this direction. So we're going to push it just a hair's breadth till it comes up here just a bit more, because we're at that point where I want to open that loop up and wrap around its wire. So we need to be able to get through there. So put tighter. Okay, now we're going to go over to the other side here of the upper loop. And start wrapping in here. Now we'll close this back up. And when we closed it, we ended up making it a little smaller, which is all right, though it does need to curve this direction just a little bit. So I'm probably going to get my round nose pliers out. And we'll pull this circle around just a little bit so it looks more circular. There we go. See there? This one actually could do the same. It wouldn't hurt it any. So back to wrapping. Can we show Rory? No, he's on the other side of my, I have a divider between my desk and I only have one camera, which is the one I lift up and down. In order to show Rory, I'd have to take the camera off of its tripod and go find where he's actually singing at. Oops, I got a kink there. I don't think I need this much wire, so I'm not too worried about that kink. If I needed more wire, then I would worry about that kink, but I'm not going to. Though we still need to come down quite a ways, probably to about right here. And unlike Randy's kitties, I can't pick him up. He would absolutely and thoroughly freak out if I even tried it. He does not like to be touched. So, but he wants to know where everybody's at. That's what he's screaming about. He's trying to find the people that should be where he thinks they should be, and they're not where he thinks they should be. Either that or he's looking for Finn. It could be one or the other, because Finn and him get along really good. One of my other cats, and he always thinks Finn needs to be wherever he's at. And I wrapped around again, I think. Well, maybe not. But I still need to just a teeny bit more, it looks like. No, I just have them spread out, so I'm not wrapped. So there we go. No, this is the finished one, duh. Rory, stop scratching on the couch. Okay. Looks like we got it as far as we need to. So now we need to trim these and squish them. Um, German style wire is a medium temper wire, whereas craft wire is a soft, and some of it is even a dead soft. So I find wire wrapping is easier with the German style because you have it doesn't bend on you as easily, so you have a little more control, so to speak. Um, I mean, you can wire wrap with craft wire, obviously, because everybody does it sometimes. But personally, I think it's easier to wire wrap with the German style because, like I said, that medium temper keeps it from wiggling so much. Remember when we made the earrings last week and I was sort of complaining and I figured I needed to hammer them because of the pieces because they were really thin. That was craft wire, that a braided wire I used, and this is the German style. So it is a little thicker and it has a little bit more, well, it's not really thicker. It's that medium temper, like I say. It holds its shape a little better. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, what you want to do. I personally prefer this style. And that one just doesn't want to lay, so I may have to trim a little bit more off this little piece right here at the end. Though even though this doesn't say to hammer these, I am going to hammer them some because I think it will make them keep their shape a little bit better. So we're going to get the block out, and because they're already wrapped up, they shouldn't do a lot of the things that the other ones do, like wiggling around and changing their shape some. Though this is trying to change its shape a little bit, but not too bad. So there we go with the components that were from the book. Like I said, I'm going to do something with these later, but I'm not sure what. Actually, I might. See if this will work. Bend this into here. Play with it more later. We're still working on these. So we're going to flip this over because our little loops are a little bit lopsided, like we discussed. And this is not laying. I still feel a little sharp edge right here. There, that's better. This needs to be squished again right here. It wants to come up on itself. So there we go. So now, like I say, we got to decide. Okay. This one is a little bit more than this one. And that might be why the loop didn't go up as high. So I'm going to now we want to make some dangles. So I'm going to get eye pins out. Trying to decide if I want to put one in the inner piece too. And I'm actually sort of thinking I will, because even if it goes a little long and hangs down into here, it's not that big of a deal. Or I could just take some little piece of silver chain and hang it up there for some interesting interesting look there. Stop. There we go. Do you ever notice how pins seem to have a slight curve in them? You have to straighten them up. What are the purple roses on my desk? They're pretty, aren't they? They're little paper mache roses that I've sprayed with Krylon to stiffen them up and waterproof them. And I'm going to put them in a barrette. I just haven't made the design for them yet. So they're pretty, see how they're with the Krylon on them? They're pretty stiff, even if they are just paper mache. But like I say, I haven't decided what I'm going to do exactly with those. I could glue them on even a pair of earrings if I wanted to, because we could just glue them right in the center there. But I'm not going to. So what we need to do is decide what kind of beads we want to use for this. I've got some pretty clear ones. I've got some red ones. I've got some pearls. Could put a pearl drop down here. I have some pearl teardrops that might look really cool hanging down from the bottom there. Let's see. I don't have very many of them left, but that's all right. They are acrylic, though, rather than glass, I'm pretty sure. Hang it. I always use the clear gloss enamel, Mary, when I use the Krylon. In fact, just a second. It's not too far from me. Actually, I guess it's Rust-Oleum I sprayed the flowers with. This is the one I use, Rust-Oleum Gloss Clear 2x Ultra Cover. Seals, protects, and revitalizes. Gloss Clear. Now, I also sometimes use the Krylon Crystal Clear. It's an acrylic coating. Permanently protective gloss finish, non-yellowing, most moisture-resistant coating, and it dries in minutes. So either one of these, the Rust-Oleum or the Krylon Clear, are a good choice for sealing things. It's what I use, one or the other of these. So we can put the pearl on here, or I could use some colored beads instead of the pearl. I do have let's see. Where'd they go? Thought I had them right here. Ah, well. Now see, if I put this here, or even a crystal of some kind, I could put another one up in here. Like I have, come here, you guys. Some blue crystals. And I could put one of the smaller ones up there and the bigger one down here. I almost think the pearl is too monotone with the it's pretty, but I think it's sort of monotone with the silver. If I did this, I'd probably put the big one and a smaller one below to make it, though I'm not sure that might be too much. So I'm not, the pearl is pretty, but I'm not fond of it. And it doesn't quite work. Of course, I'm not sure these work either. Because, well, I want a spacer between them, obviously. But these might be too big. It might overpower our piece. Anyway, the big one. But I'd need a little something more than the blue one. Let's see what I put. What is it, Rory? Oh? Okay, I sort of like that blue and crystal on the bottom. This blue, I think, is too big. So I'm going to get a spacer and we'll do these up for the bottom piece, though. Got some double bead spacers. I love double bead spacers. They're so cool. Or double bead caps, I should say. Well, if they answer him, that's good. So I'm going to wire wrap this. We'll put it onto here. Just hang it directly on there. And then we're at that point where we decide, are we going to, ooh, these wires are a little stiff. These must be stainless still. What did I do with it? Oh, there it is, way down there. So we'll up and over and around, bring her down, leave a gap because we're going to put her on. So then we'll just slide this baby on. Doesn't have to be any particular direction because it is got no definite front and back. So we can just put that on here, wrap it up. Since these appear to be stainless, I'm going to get my heavier clippers to clip them. Got a wire in the face, got to be more careful. So there is this one with this little dangle on it. So do the same on this one. And then we got to decide if we're going to put something in the top up here because it is, my goodness, he's really talking today. There's days he goes without saying anything, and then he'll go and talk and talk and talk. He has his favorite place on the couch to sleep. You ought to see the looks he gives anybody if they lay in his spot or sit in his spot. Finn sometimes sits where he likes to, lays down where he likes to lay. And when that happens, he gets just irate and really starts complaining. I don't think Finn's in his spot right now, but that may be what he's talking about. I can't see over there, so I can't tell. But when Finn lays in his spot, he gets behind Finn. That was a little crooked, so we straightened it up. And then he scrunches, scooches, and scooches until he gets the spot he wants. So it's sort of funny. Okay, now I had some more of this size in the blue, but I'm not seeing them, which is a pity because they would be great in the little top slot. I'm dropping things. Where did I put those? There they are. So we'll just get two of these little tiny ones out here. Well, they're not really tiny, but they're smaller. Thank you, Janice. How many cats do I have? 4. 3 black cats and a gray and white. So then we're just going to hang this little guy right in here. You could even put one right in there, though it would be getting a little close. But personally, I'm the cat lady. I'd have more if my husband would let me. And it's sort of funny when we got Rory. He's a feral. How he came to be in the park, nobody knows for sure. But we were seeing him for months up there, and it's actually this time of the year because we got him just before we did the Hoopers show. I did the Hoopers show, which is the show this weekend that I'm doing. And my husband had already said after 3 we weren't getting another one. And then he calls me while I'm setting up for this show. And he says, "Can we have another cat? Do you mind if I get another cat?" And I said, "Honey, you were the one that told me we couldn't have any more cats, that we had plenty." And he said, "I know, but they caught that feral cat and they're gonna put him down because he doesn't belong in the park. Number one, because obviously he's not an indigenous creature, but he was killing the the indigenous birds and squirrels and such. So for food, and so they were going to have him put down because he was feral, and they didn't think he could be tamed. Well, I'll be truthful with you, he's not tamed, and we've had him for probably 5 or 6 years now. I don't think he ever will be tamed, but that's just the way it is. And he's a part of our household anyway. But I'm like, go ahead. So I come home, and there's this. He's still in his. My husband has let him out of the live trap that they caught him in, and he's hiding in my bookshelf behind my books. And so I didn't see him for the first few days after we got him because he was hiding for quite some time. But he finally came out of hiding, and like I said, the couch is the end of the couch is his space, and no better get in it. But so there we put that little blue drop in that. Now it's not quite, well, actually it's going to be the bottom one that's not quite centered when we put the wire on. So anyway, he hangs out on the couch, but he still doesn't want us touching him or holding him or even petting him. We can get close enough to him when he wants treats or food, but other than that, just his whole attitude is just stay away from me. And that's all right. But the thing is, he doesn't like it when he doesn't know where we're at either. He throws those little fits. You know what? This one I'm just gonna open the loop because this one doesn't want to cooperate with wrapping good. So I'm just gonna open the loop. Come on out of there. And wrap it normally on the outside here. Bring them together. And then wrap them up here. Oops, it's going on top of each other. But he doesn't like it when he doesn't know where we're at. And then he starts throwing little fits like he's doing right now, or if he's not got his spot on the couch. But in general, he's still pretty wild. So even after all these years, he doesn't hide from us anymore, but he doesn't want much to do with this either, other than knowing where we're at all the time. So there is the earrings all done, other than putting on the ear wires. So I'll get, it's already 13 after. Excuse me. Why does he sound like he does? As in sort of hoarse? I don't know. That's just his voice. He's always sounded like that. As far as screaming, I don't know. I wish he wouldn't scream so much, but hey, that's just the way he is. And some days we'll go days without him making a sound, and then all of a sudden he has one of those days like he is right now, where he wants to just talk up a storm. But a lot of times I've come to the conclusion he's talking to Finn, because Finn and him are buddies. Which is funny because they're both the boy cats. But one of the girl cats is mean to all the other ones. And now the other ones are mean to her because they don't like her, because she's always been mean to them. So, you know what? I'm going to turn these loops here at the top. They didn't say to, but because I want to put the ear wire on and the wires are going this direction, I don't want to have to use 2 jump rings. So I'm going to turn this loop so it's facing the other direction. And I'll have to fix it because I noticed I just bent it out of shape. But if they're going the same direction as the ear wire, of course, you don't need any extra. And I don't want extra if I can help it. So I'm just going to bring them to this side. Yep. So now, actually, all my cats are rescues. Finn was found as a little kitten. He rarely makes a sound. If he makes a sound, you know he wants something. He was found as a little kitten living under an abandoned house, and so I got him from a rescue group, and Samantha, we got her from also known as Sammy. If you see pictures and it says Sammy, that's who I'm talking about. We got her from the Humane Society. Well, actually, the local shelter, because she was released, and I don't know why. I just know they said that she was a stray, and then when they found the owners, they released her rather than paying the fine. So we got her from the shelter. And then Winter, yes, I have a Winter too, but she's coal black with just a teeny little bit of white on her belly. We got her, she's the mean one, by the way, from another shelter on one of those adoption days the pet stores have. And she was 9 months old when we got her, and she had been born in the shelter, so she lived all her life in a cage. So when we first got her, we made her a little area, and she never left that area for weeks. So yeah, they're all. That's true. They do have personalities. Hi, Zach. So here are our earrings, all finished. I think they look cute. That the ear with that link that we made from the book. Now, if you get the book and decide to make this link, remember, if you want them like these, you need 6 inches of wire, not 4 or 5. And if you do use the 4 or 5 inches, you're going to need to make your loop way smaller than this loop I made. But let's turn. Bing. Come on. Nobody wants to look at my shelf with all my little tiny beads on it. So there they are. Turned out pretty cute. So there they go. Hold still, babies. So I rather like them, except for I didn't do these mirror images because the loop is on the other side. I may have to open that jump ring up and switch my ear wire on one of them so that they're going in different directions. Guess it doesn't matter which one, but they are not mirrors because they are going the exact same way, so they'd be twinners. I don't want them to be twinners. It's easier said than done to open a Tinky Tot back up. because they're tiny and they want to stay where they're at. There. Now they're mirrors. See? Because our little dangle is hanging a little off to this little loop comes out a bit. So there we go. Like I said, we got this link out of our, that we used to make these out of our essential links for wire jewelry book. And there it is. But like I said, they called for 4 or 5 inches of wire, and I ended up using 6. The first ones we cut I used 5, and the wire was too small. So if you get this book and decide to make that link, either you're making it smaller than I did, or you need to use a little more wire. So there we go. I imagine I will be there. I will be there tonight, hopefully anyway. Unless I forget. The other day I forgot and I didn't get it done, but well, I came on and I forgot she'd changed it from 8 to 7 for Central Time, so that would mean it was from not 7 here, but at 6 for here at Mountain Time. And I got on at 7 instead. And so, way it is. So anyway, we've got our earrings finished. And I hope you enjoyed making these with me. I think they turned out pretty good. Like I said. But everybody have a nice day. It's already 20 after, so we need to be gone. We'll see you later. And I hope you had a good time. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.